One of the documents that tends to be overlooked by a buyer of a California real property purchase transaction is the preliminary change of ownership report. Perhaps it is because it has 2 pages of questions that need to be answered, and many find it distracting or boring or have a hard time reading through it. But this form is particularly important because how clearly and completely you fill it out will affect how your future property taxes will be assessed. This is Juliana too, and I want to make your life easier with this video. It can be viewed by itself or after my video on California's property tax assessments. Having a general idea of what is asked and why can only help you maintain the correct tax valuation on your property. Exactly like the name of the form, the preliminary change of ownership is given to a buyer through the escrow transaction so that it provides preliminary notification to the county assessor's office with an idea of the transfer of ownership and the value. Yes, it does deal with how your property taxes are calculated. And this form is put out by the State Board of Equalization, which is one of the collection arms of California's Revenue and Taxation Code. And it is filed with the ownership when it is being transferred. This form is also used to collect data on the real estate transactions that is happening within the county. So there's 4 types of data that is gathered. 1, who are the parties? The transferor, the transferee, the buyer, the seller. What is the value of the transfer, which is usually per the purchase agreement or the escrow instructions? Is there a homeowner's exemption that the property qualifies for because this is going to be your principal residence? And number 4, if there should be no reassessment for the existing property taxes, why not? So based on this information, the tax assessors will reassess the taxes. Here's the form. Page 1 on the top, it asks you for the buyer transferee's name and mailing address. It asks you for the assessor's parcel number, the number that is assigned to the property taxes. This number that is assigned to the property itself, and then the seller's name, the physical location or the street address of the property, and you must answer the question whether or not this is going to be your principal residence or if you are a disabled veteran. It will also ask you for your address in order to mail the property tax bill to. On the bottom of this page is going to be the transfer information. Now, this is going to ask you questions if you have a transfer that is excluded from this reassessment. And such exemptions can be found in my transfer tax exemption list in the video description below. So here are some of the common ones. The property is sold between or is being transferred between the spouses. It is transferred between the parents and the children. It is a transfer because one of the people passed away, and it is a replacement of a principal residence by somebody who is 55 years or older. Maybe the transfer is because you're correcting a person's name due to marriage or to divorce, or this is a transfer to the revocable trust. Finally, if this is a transfer between an individual and a corporate entity in which both parties own the same proportionate interest, that could be an exemption too. On page 2, you will see that they're going to ask you for the actual transfer information. Is this a purchase? Is this a gift? Was only a part of the interest transferred? It will also ask you for the total purchase price. If there's a loan on it, how much of a loan? What is the interest rate and the terms? If there's a second loan on it, they will ask you for the same information. On the bottom of that page, it will ask you for the type of property. Is it a single family, multiple family, condo, or commercial? It will also ask you whether or not this property is going to provide rental income for you and what was the condition of the property at the sale. So everything you complete will be figured into the reassessment. Many transferees or buyers, as I said, have no patience to complete the form, but not completing it does not invalidate the assessment. It just makes it more difficult for the county assessor's office. So if there's something you did not complete correctly, or if they have a question on, they will contact you directly if you give them their name and your phone number. Now, if a form is not completed at all and attached to the grant deed, then the recorder's office is going to have the right to assess a $20 extra charge to the recording fee. And the story doesn't end there. If you do not send this form back, they can, within 6 weeks after the closing, send you a change of ownership form. Many people will receive this in the mail, and because it's another 2-page legal size form, which looks just like the PCOR that they completed, they tend to disregard it or even just to throw it away. And that would be a very bad move. Because there's a new law that passed in 2011 that says that if a mailed request for the change of ownership form is not returned within 90 days, the transferee is going to be subject to a huge penalty. Now, if this happens to be the principal residence, then the penalty is 10% of the new base year value up to $5,000, meaning that if you purchased it at the base value of $500,000 times 10%, it's $5,000. But if this does not apply to a property that is not going to be your principal residence, then the maximum is going to be $20,000. So let me summarize this for you. Why are these two forms important? Number one, because they alert the taxing agency on how to assess the taxes assigned to your property. Number two, do not let the assessor's office assign their own value because they didn't get your form. Their assigned value could be much higher than what was paid for. And the number three important reason is that if this ownership transfer was not due to a sale, then it shouldn't be reassessed. And if that's the case, you need to complete part 1 on page 1 completely. So if this was a transfer between the spouse to a trust or between parents and children, you can be exempt from this, and they would need to know it on the form. So the next time you get a preliminary change of ownership form or a change of ownership form, don't disregard it and don't throw it away. Instead, take a moment to read through the form and complete it correctly, because your property taxes may be placed on the line by what you do or do not do. So be in control of your tax destiny. For more information on the topics I listed above, please go to my video description below for the links. My t-shirt of the day. For this session, I am wearing my Lisbon t-shirt. I lived there for many number of years, and the country and its people will always have a very special place in my heart. I hope that this video has taken out the confusion of the PCOR form and has made it easier for you to complete and to understand how one particular part of the escrow process works. So you see, that form really is not so bad when it's broken down this way. Be sure you click on the like and subscribe buttons below. This is Juliana too, and thank you for watching. I shall see you in the next video.